Okay, welcome back to VP Culture, and we are going to be talking about creating cultures based on valuing people. And we're in the VP Culture Personality Science section. This is lesson number 2, and we're going to be focusing on the 5-factor model test, personality test that you took, and why this one? Why is it so important? We've all seen the millions of personality tests that appear on the internet, and we all fancifully take them. But why this one? And why is it important? Why can we use it in leadership? Why can we use it in hiring and all of these different areas in the business world? Well, one of the reasons is that's highly accurate, is the most valid personality test that has ever been produced. In fact, to the point where I've discussed before, it has been named as a psychological law within psychology. And it's a rare designation of any kind of system or test within the social sciences. So it's been tested across all different genders and all different nationalities and languages. It's been translated and applied, and it has a high degree of validity between the things that they are actually trying to test and reliability, that it consistently tests the same thing over time. And between individuals, it is something that has all of those factors in great quantities, which is what the social scientists like me are looking for in a test. So it has all of these factors, and interestingly, the factors actually don't change over time for you as well. Sometimes different personality traits will be expressed more, like certain things will be brought out in certain situations, like a home situation, a school situation, a work situation. Send somebody to the army and different personality traits will come out. But those personality traits were always there. They don't change over time. So this is critical. Oftentimes we get into relationships and we expect someone to change, and they're not going to. They can change certain values or behaviors, but that'll be difficult if it's connected to their personality. So we want to work with somebody's personality to have positive outcomes and not trying to force their personality down a pathway that is just not designed to lead them down. So it's a highly valid test. So here are the 5 factors. We're just going to give you a brief mention of what these are. You're going to start to take note of them and start to understand them a little bit more in depth. So the first one, we use this acronym called OCEAN to sort of as a mnemonic device to remember the 5 factors so that you can rattle through them as you go through the word OCEAN. Okay, the first one is openness. And now openness is somebody who has a love for aesthetics, new works of art, new experiences. And that's going to be the factor, the perceptions that are driving them and the behaviors that are driving them. The next factor is conscientiousness, and these people are driven by work, orderliness. Is the work done? Is there more work to do? Is there something to organize? Is it organized? Is it not organized? It drives their perceptions and their behaviors. So the next one is extroversion. Extroversion is made of enthusiasm and assertiveness. So these people have a lot of exciting and abundant emotions that are positive. And so when they're in a situation, they just want others to act along with them, and they want others to be excited with them. So that's what extroversion is primarily focused on. And then the next one in the line of OCEAN is agreeableness. And this is politeness and compassion. You could see these people just love to get along with others. That's what they're focused on. And if you're low in this trait, then you're going to be a good negotiator. You're going to be less concerned about what people think and less pushed around by what people think. The next one is neuroticism. Now, this comes from the Greek word nevro, which means the nerves. So you're going to feel pain a little bit more acutely because your nerves are a little bit more sensitive. So you're going to sense danger. And that's going to either make you want to move away from the danger or be aggressive towards the danger to fix it. So that's what neuroticism is. So all of these 5 factors are what these scientists came up with that ended up in distinct categories. So there's not a little bit of this in each one of them. Each category is distinct. And so these distinct categories are the bits that make up each human personality. And each human person could be described by different portions of these types of traits. So how do we measure this? On the test, you're going to see a range from 1 to 100. So this isn't like your classical, I got 100 on the test. I scored well. If you're 100% in openness, that means out of 100 people, you scored the highest. There aren't any more people that are more open than you. And if you scored somewhere in the middle, like a 50%, that means there will be 50% of the people who have more openness than you and 50% who have less openness than you do. It doesn't mean that there's a bad score. You could have 1 on the openness scale, and that would be perfect, because we need that person with that tool to go out into our teams and into society to solve problems. Those low in openness peoples are the ones that are very content with the status quo. They like doing things over and over again, and they don't change. They're very stable. So every organization, every team needs the stable rock to keep things rolling. All right, and then we need the innovators that are going to take us to new places. But if we were all innovators, nothing would ever get done, I'm sure, because I'm an innovator. I could tell you it's very hard. I need people around me who can help me get things done. So it's great to know that you're on this spectrum, a scale. So that's what's unique about this test. A lot of tests will push you into the openness category, even if you're just 61%. And this helps you to know exactly how much openness you have within your personality. So that's a very good thing, but it makes it a little bit tricky in understanding it. So understand that you're on a sliding scale, and that's how this test is rated and graded. Okay, so now we're going to tell a little bit of story about Elon Musk and his company Tesla. So Elon Musk is really high in openness. You can tell he's a creative guy. He's got to have new ideas all the time. And in fact, when he worked for PayPal, that drove them crazy. So they actually pushed him out because this guy is not a CEO. They were just not used to a CEO with his level of creativity. And so he's also highly conscientious. The guy works like a maniac. He works harder than most people I have ever seen. Just constantly working. He's constantly at the plant. They say he sleeps a lot in the office. And so he's really driven to work. Conscientious is very high for him. He might be low in orderliness. I don't know him that personally, but probably a little bit low in orderliness. And he's low in agreeableness, in that he doesn't care what you think. That's why he bought Twitter, so that people could fight out ideas. He wants people to fight out ideas because he loves those ideas so much, but he wants people to have their own ideas and to wrestle with them. Whereas an agreeable person is not going to like that at all. Okay, but he needed and knew that he needed other people like Zach Kirkhorn in his corner, on his team. And Zach is highly orderly, and he's the CFO, so he's in charge of all of the finances. So when they make a pitch about a new idea to investors, he's got the finances all together. He doesn't run in like, this is just a great idea. He's got the great idea. He's got all the numbers in order. He's got the agreeableness, so he's not saying something that's unconventional. He's being very conventional in his behaviors and in his style. You can just see how they dress even. He looks far more conventional than Elon Musk. So all of these different things push these two teams. Like we said earlier, when you got a team with various types of personalities, they become stronger. Particularly because Elon Musk has allowed Zach to do his job, to be who he is. And that has made them a strong team. So these are things that you actually look for if you're a leader. If you can get a dynamic duo or a dynamic team that has different personalities together, they can complement each other and do amazing work that cannot be done as an individual personality alone. So we're going to be learning about how this is amazing. Now, the science behind this. The genetic code was discovered in 1953, and it showed that there was a blueprint for every human being to create all the proteins and all of the physical elements of the body. But in the 1980s, we actually discovered the DNA of personality with the 5-factor model. And just like the DNA revolutionized how we do medicine, how we understand science, how we understand anatomy, how the cells function, this is the same thing that this 5-factor model has teased out the actual personality of individuals. We know how they behave, how they perceive, and how to accept them, and how to lead them towards who they really are. This is a revolution in science, and you're going to be on the cutting edge of understanding and leading people with personality science moving forward. Okay, so like I said, the 5-factor model is going to highlight the cognitive differences, the emotional differences, the motivational differences, the behavioral differences. Now, if you can keep that in mind, when you're working with people, you're going to be able to, just like you're going to be able to tailor make your approach to each individual. And that's exactly what you need to do. You cannot treat every individual as if they were a copy of yourself. Leaders who do that make mistakes continuously. You need to understand these differences. You need to be able to work with those differences and tailor what you're doing exactly for the people that are in your presence. So you're going to be learning how to do that in this section. So, like I said, there are biological factors that scientists have shown. There are genetic factors that come up with who you are. There are hormonal levels, immune response levels, psychological reactions to stress. All of these things are baked into your personality. And it's not just, it might be as a result of some conditioning from your background, but it could also be a result of conditioning from your upbringing as well, from your physiological DNA. So all of these things, there have been a lot of studies that actually show that there is a direct link between these personality traits and the genetic material in your DNA. All right, now it's time for questions. Have you ever known a personality that was very different from yours? What was it like to relate to them? Tell some stories with your group about that. Question number 2, have you ever known a personality that was very similar to yours? And how did that go? Question number 3, how does having different personalities affect how you view the actions and perceptions of others? Question number 4, what would the world look like if we had only one personality and we were missing the others? What would that look like? Discuss that with your team. All right. So that's our 5-factor model to give you a brief insight into the test. I think this is foundational so that you can understand where we're going and why we're going there. So this is the most reliable test. You don't change. It's built on your DNA and your upbringing. And when you have these people working together, you're going to be a much more effective team if you learn how to work with these things than work at cross purposes. So understanding personality science is going to be a way to create culture that will be valuing people. People feel valued when they see that you get their personality. So that's lesson number 2, and we look forward to joining you with lesson number 3.